Welcome to Story Quest. Today, I will be reading Little Woman, Chapter 24, Part 2. Sally Moffat has 4, began Amy. If Meg had 4, the house wouldn't hold them, and Master and Mrs. would have to camp in the garden, broke in Joe, who, enveloped in a big blue pinafore, was giving the last polish to the door handles. Sally isn't a poor man's wife, and many maids are in keeping with her fine establishment. Meg and John begin humbly, but I have a feeling that there will be quite as much happiness in the little house as in the big one. It's a great mistake for young girls like Meg to leave themselves nothing to do but dress, give orders, and gossip. When I was first married, I used to long for my new clothes to wear out or get torn, so that I might have the pleasure of mending them, for I got heartily sick of doing fancy work and tending to my pocket handkerchief. Why didn't you go into the kitchen and make messes, as Sally says she does to amuse herself, though they never turn out well, and the servants laugh at her, said Meg. I did after a while, not to mess, but to learn of Hannah how things should be done, that my servants need not laugh at me. It was play then, but there came a time when I was truly grateful that I did not only possess the will, but the power to cook wholesome food for my little girls, and help myself when I could not afford to hire help. You begin at the other end, Meg, dear, but the lessons you learn now will be of use to you by and by when John is a richer man, for the mistress of a house, however splendid, should know how work ought to be done if she wishes to be well and honestly served. Yes, mother, I'm sure of that, said Meg, listening respectfully to the little lecture, for the best of women will hold forth upon the all-absorbing subject of housekeeping. Do you know I like this room most of all in my baby house, added Meg a minute after, as they went upstairs and she looked into her well-stored linen closet. Beth was there, laying the snowy piles smoothly on the shelves and exulting over the goodly array. All three laughed as Meg spoke, for the linen closet was a joke. You see, having said that, if Meg married that Brooke, she couldn't have a cent of her money. Aunt March was rather in a quandary when time had appeared her wrath and made her repent her vow. She never broke her word, and was much exercised in her mind how to get around it, and at last devised a plan whereby she could satisfy herself. Mrs. Carroll, Florence's mamma, was ordered to buy, have made, and marked a generous supply of house and table linen, and send it as her present, all of which was faithfully done, but the secret leaked out and was greatly enjoyed by the family, for Aunt March tried to look utterly unconscious and insisted that she could give nothing but the old-fashioned pearls long promised to the first bride. That's a housewifely taste, which I'm glad to see. I had a young friend who set up housekeeping with 6 sheets, but she had finger bowls for company, and that satisfied her, said Mrs. March, patting the damask tablecloths with a truly feminine appreciation of their fineness. I haven't a single finger bowl, but this is a set-out that will last me all my days, Hannah says, and Meg looked quite contented, as well as she might. A tall, broad-shouldered young fellow, with a cropped head and a felt basin of a hat and a flyaway coat, came tramping down the road at a great pace, walked over the low fence without stopping to open the gate, straight up to Mrs. March, with both hands out in a hearty, "Here I am, Mother. Yes, it's all right." The last words were in the answer to the look of the elder lady gave him, a kindly questioning look with the handsome eyes met so frankly that the little ceremony closed, as usual, with a motherly kiss. For Mrs. John Brooke, with the maker's congratulations and compliments. "Bless you, Beth. With a refreshing spectacle you are, Joe. Amy, you are getting altogether too handsome for a single lady." As Laurie spoke, he delivered a brown paper parcel to Meg, pulled Beth's hair ribbon, stared at Joe's big pinafore, and fell into an attitude of mock rapture before Amy. Then shook hands all around, and everyone began to talk. "Where is John?" asked Meg anxiously. "Stopped to get the license for tomorrow, ma'am." "Which side won the last match, Teddy?" inquired Joe, who persisted in feeling an interest in manly sports despite her 19 years. "Ours, of course. Wish you'd been there to see." "How is lovely, Miss Randall?" asked Amy with a significant smile. "More cruel than ever. Don't you see how I'm pining away?" And Laurie gave his broad chest a sounding slap and heaved a melodramatic sigh. "What's the last joke? Undo the bundle and see, Meg," said Beth, eyeing the knobby parcel with curiosity. "It's a useful thing to have in the house in case of fire or thieves," answered Laurie, as a watchman's rattle appeared amid the laugh of the girls. "Anytime when John is away and you get frightened, Mrs. Meg, just swing that out in front of the window, and it will arouse the neighborhood in a jiffy. Nice thing, isn't it?" And Laurie gave them a sample of its power that made them cover up their ears. "There is gratitude for you. And speaking of gratitude, reminds me to mention that you may thank Hannah for saving your wedding cake from destruction. I saw it going into your house as I came by, and if she hadn't defended it manfully, I'd have had a pick at it, for it looked like a remarkable plummy one." "I wonder if you'll ever grow up, Laurie," said Meg in a matronly tone. "I'm doing my best, ma'am, but can't get much bigger, I'm afraid. At 6 feet is about all man can do in these degenerate days," responded the young gentleman, whose head was about the level with the little chandelier. "I suppose it would be profanation to eat anything in this clean bower, so as I'm tremendously hungry, I suppose an adjournment," he added presently. "Mother and I are going to wait for John. There are some last things to settle," said Meg, bustling away. "Beth and I are going over to Kitty Bryant's to get more flowers for tomorrow," added Amy, tying a picturesque hat over her picturesque curls and enjoying the effects as much as anybody. "Come, Joe, don't desert a fellow. I'm in such a state of exhaustion, I can't get home without help." "Don't take off your apron, whatever you do. It's particularly becoming," said Laurie, as Joe bestowed his especial aversion in her capacious pocket and offered her arm to support his feeble steps. "Now, Teddy, I want to talk seriously to you about tomorrow," began Joe as they strolled away together. "You promised to behave well and not to cut up any pranks and spoil our plans." "Not a prank. And don't say funny things when we ought to be sober." "I never do. You're the one for that. And I implore you not to look at me during the ceremony. I shall certainly laugh if you do. You won't see me. You'll be crying so hard that the thick fog round you will obscure the prospect." "I never cry unless it's for some great affliction, such as fellows going to college, hey?" cut in Lori with a suggestive laugh. Don't be a peacock. I only moaned a trifle to keep the girls company. Exactly. I say, Joe. How is Grandpa this week? Pretty amiable? Very. Why? Have you got into a scrap and want to know how he'll take it? Asked Joe rather sharply. Now, Joe, do you think I'd look your mother in the face and say all right if it wasn't? And Lori stopped short with an injured air. No, I don't. Then don't go and be suspicious. Only want some money, said Lori, walking on again, appeased by her hearty tone. You spend a great deal, Teddy. Bless you, I don't spend it. It spends itself somehow, and is gone before I know it. You are so generous and kind-hearted that you let people borrow and can't say no to anyone. We heard about Henshaw and all you do for him. If you always spend money in that way, no one would blame you, said Joe warmly. Oh, he made a mountain out of a molehill. You wouldn't have me let that fine fellow work himself to death just for want of a little help, when he is worth a dozen of us lazy chaps, would you? Of course not. But I don't see the use of your having 17 waistcoats, endless neckties, and a new hat every time you come home. I thought you'd got over the dandy period, but every now and then it breaks out in a new spot. Just now, it's the fashion to be hideous, to make your head look like a scrubbing brush, wear a straight jacket, orange gloves, clumping square-toed boots. If it was cheap ugliness, I say nothing, but it costs as much as the other, and I don't get any satisfaction out of it. Lori threw his head back and laughed out so heartily at this attack that the felt hat fell off, and Joe walked on it, which insult only afforded him an opportunity for expatiating on the advantages of a rough and ready costume, as he folded up the maltreated hat and stuffed it into his pocket. Don't lecture any more, there's a good soul. I have enough all through the week, and like to enjoy myself when I come home. I'll get myself up regardless of expense tomorrow and be a satisfaction to my friends. I leave you in peace if you'll only let your hair grow. I am not aristocratic, but I do object to be seen with a person who looks like a young prize fighter, observed Joe severely. This unassuming style promotes study. That's why we adopt it, returned Lori, who certainly could not be accused of vanity, having voluntarily sacrificed a handsome curly crop to the demand for a quarter-inch long stubble. By the way, Joe, I think that little Parker is really getting desperate about Amy. He talks of her constantly, writes poetry, and moons about in a most suspicious manner. He'd better nip his little passion in the bud, hadn't he? Added Lori in a confidential, elder brotherly tone, after a minute's silence. Of course he had. He don't want any more marrying in this family for years to come. Mercy on us. What are the children thinking of? And Joe looked as much scandalized as if Amy and little Parker were not yet in their teens. It's a fast age, and I don't know what we are coming to, ma'am. You are a mere infant, but you'll go next, Joe, and we'll be left lamentating, said Lori, shaking his head over the degeneracy of the times. Don't be alarmed. I'm not one of those agreeable sort. Nobody will want me, and it's a mercy, for there should always be one old maid in a family. You won't give anyone a chance, said Lori with a sidelong glance, and a little more color than before in his sunburned face. You won't show the soft side of your character, and if a fellow gets a peep at it by accident and can't help showing that he likes it, you treat him as Mrs. Gummidge did her sweetheart, throw cold water over him, and get so thorny no one dares touch or look at you. I don't like that sort of thing. I'm too busy to be worried with nonsense, and I think it's dreadful to break up families so. Now, don't say any more about it. Meg's wedding has turned all our heads, and we talk of nothing but lovers and such absurdities. I don't wish to get cross, so let's change the subject. And Joe looked quite ready to fling cold water on the slightest provocation. Whatever his feelings might have been, Laurie found a vent for them in a long, low whistle and the fearful prediction as they parted at the gate. Mark my words, Joe, you'll go next. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and comment down below. And if you have not done so already, please subscribe and hit that bell notification for future videos. And if you have the time, please check out my second channel and podcast called Viva Quest. The links are in the description box below. Thank you.